And still talking health, today is World Cancer Day. It is an international day marked on February the 4th to raise awareness of cancer and to encourage its prevention, detection and treatment. World Cancer Day is led by the Union for International Cancer Control to support the goals of the World Cancer Declaration written in 2008. The primary goal of World Cancer Day is to significantly reduce illness and death caused by the disease, and it is an opportunity to rally the international community to end the injustice of preventable suffering from cancer. And joining me now to speak more about this is an oncologist, Dr. Ololade Kehinde. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
So when people hear cancer, the first thing that comes to mind is death. So, because a lot of people think that, look, it causes death. It has to just lead to death. And then it also raises that fear of any growth or any lump in the body. People are usually scared, thinking it is cancer. So help us understand what is cancer and what is not cancer for those who are afraid right now with a lump in any part of their body.
Well, actually, for you to distinguish whether something is a cancer or not, it's a function of the histology. And what does histology basically mean? It means that it has to be taken out, it has to be sent to the laboratory, and in the laboratory it has to be identified via slides and all that to be sure that is whether it's a cancerous or it's benign. Because if we have 10 lumps, 9 will be benign and only 1 will be a cancer. But in order to identify, we can't just from outside, just by physical outlook, we can't say this one. There are some features that can portend that this looks like a malignancy or more or less like a cancer, whereas majority of them will be those that are benign. So the identification is whenever anyone notices that they have a lump in the body, they should just approach the nearby hospital, and once the lump is taken out, and they do a typing. So it's not something they can just do.
All right. So for those who are scared, the first thing to do is to go to the hospital. But let's talk about generally about prevention, because in this part of the world, it looks like, we eat whatever we like, we do whatever we like, and we have foods that are healthy, but some people prefer to eat just for taste and not for nutrition. So are there lifestyle changes or diet that one can imbibe to prevent cancer?
Well, there are certain foods, for example, red meat, that has been identified. They have some linkages with colon cancer. We know that tobacco worsens the chances of an individual coming down with lung cancer. And also we know that if an individual is consuming excessive alcohol, that individual is prone to having liver cirrhosis that can lead to liver cancer. And those are the basic ones. But we encourage people to be involved in increased activity. They should also be involved. They shouldn't live a sedentary lifestyle. They should be involved in some sports here and there. And also the consumption of a lot of vitamins and micronutrients will also build the immunity of the body, so that at carcinogen level, that can mitigate it. And it won't get to up to the point where we already have lumps and all that. At the point of lumps, then it's only management that can be done.
What about there's those who have a family history of cancer?
Yes.
We understand that they are more prone to having cancer, but there are those who do not have that family history, and yet they also have cancer in later on. What's the difference?
Well, for every cancer there are two types. There's the hereditary and the sporadic. For the sporadic, those are the ones that it just skips and jumps at individuals. And whereas the ones that are hereditary, for example, there's something we call the hereditary breast and ovarian cancer syndrome. And there are also the hereditary non-polyposis colonic cancer, cancers that we also have, HNPCC. So as much as possible, those that have histories of cancer in their family, they are prone to having cancer at an earlier age, and they're also prone to having cancers that are more severe. But those that are sporadic and they identify early, we know that in the stages of cancer, we have stage 1 to stage 4. And if they come early in stage 1, if they're very conscious of their body, they come in stage 1, they do very well. They have a very high life expectancy, they do very well. But once they present in stage 3 and stage 4, particularly those that do not seek early, they don't have good health-seeking behaviors.
And that's where I really want to go to, because we know that for every disease, especially cancer, which is now the second leading cause of death in the world, early detection is always the key. So if you were to give one advice, whether for men or for women, cancer knows no gender. So if you were to give advice today, what is the one advice you would give?
The one advice is that you should be very mindful of your body. You should know what your system is. Whenever you notice a change, you notice a lump, you notice a discharge, you notice something that is not usual, you shouldn't just assume that it's just one of those things, or maybe it's just the stress. you should seek appropriate medical care.
So always seek appropriate medical care and then know your family history.
Absolutely.
Those are very important things. Dr. Ololade Kendi, thanks so much for talking to us.
You're welcome.